There was a boy named James. Not a bad kid, not at all. In fact, he was smart, curious, even talented. But if there was one thing he did better than anyone, it was delaying things. That coding course he bought? He'd start it next week. That book on his shelf? He'd read it when he felt more motivated. That promise to hit the gym? Definitely from Monday. And his decisions, well, they were always for the now, never for the later. A late-night movie instead of an early morning start. A greasy burger instead of a healthy meal. A quick, impulsive purchase instead of a thoughtful investment. He lived in the moment, for the moment, without a single thought for the man he was becoming tomorrow. His mother would often watch him, a gentle worry creasing her forehead. "James," she'd say, "every choice you make is a brushstroke on the canvas of your future." But James would just smile. "Mom, life's too short to worry so much. I'm just enjoying myself. What's the harm in a little fun?" He didn't see the harm. He couldn't see how these small, seemingly insignificant choices were accumulating, like tiny grains of sand, slowly burying the person he was meant to be. The world wasn't ending, but James's potential was quietly being eroded, one poor decision at a time, the skills he never learned, the opportunities he wasn't prepared for, the healthier, stronger version of himself that never emerged, because the easier, more comfortable choice always won. One afternoon, James's grandfather, a man whose wisdom was as deep as the lines on his face, found him aimlessly scrolling through his phone on the porch. He didn't scold him or lecture him. He just sat down, a quiet presence beside his grandson's restless energy. After a few minutes of silence, he spoke, his voice calm and steady. "You know, you remind me of a minister." James looked up, intrigued. A minister? What grand folly had this one committed? "Let me guess," James said with a grin. "Did he advise the king to invest in a company that made square wheels?" The old man chuckled, a warm, rumbling sound. "No, something far more foolish. He built his own future without realizing what materials he was using. Once, there was a great king. He was known throughout the lands for his immense wealth and his even greater wisdom. He ruled a prosperous kingdom and was loved by his people. The king had 3 ministers who had served him faithfully for many years. He trusted them with the most important affairs of the state, and they had always proven to be capable and loyal. But the king was getting old, and he knew he needed to choose a successor, someone who not only had the skills to rule, but the foresight to build a prosperous future. The king devised a unique test. He summoned his 3 ministers to the throne room. He told them, "I am sending each of you on a journey. I want you to go to the royal orchards, and I will give each of you a large, empty bag. Your task is simple. Fill this bag with the finest, most delicious fruits you can find. You have until sunset. Take your time, choose wisely, for your reward will depend on what you bring back." He gave them no other instructions, leaving the interpretation of the task entirely up to them. The 3 ministers bowed, took their bags, and set off towards the vast royal orchards, each one contemplating the king's strange request. The first minister, a man known for his diligence and integrity, took the king's words to heart. He saw this not just as a task, but as a reflection of his character. He roamed the entire orchard, carefully inspecting every tree. He climbed the tallest branches to pluck the most succulent mangoes, the juiciest apples, and the sweetest grapes. He paid attention to every detail, ensuring that each fruit was perfect, unblemished, ripe, and fragrant. He worked tirelessly all day, his bag growing heavy with the weight of his excellent choices. He knew the king valued quality, and he was determined to present a collection that would honor that trust. His bag was a testament to his effort and his respect for the king's command. The second minister was a more pragmatic and perhaps cynical man. He thought to himself, "The king is old. He probably won't even inspect the fruits himself. He just wants the bags to look full. Why should I waste my entire day climbing trees?" So he devised a shortcut. He filled the bottom half of his bag with leaves, twigs, and unripe, sour fruits that had fallen to the ground. Then he spent a little time carefully arranging a layer of beautiful, ripe fruits on the very top. From the outside, his bag looked just as full and appealing as the first minister's. He spent the rest of the day napping under a shady tree, proud of his cleverness and how he had outsmarted the system, saving himself a great deal of effort. The third minister was the most lazy and dismissive of all. He scoffed at the task. "What a ridiculous waste of time," he muttered. "Collecting fruits like a common laborer. The king must be losing his mind." Convinced the task was meaningless, he decided to exert the absolute minimum effort. He didn't even bother to search for good fruits. He simply walked to the nearest pile of debris and filled his entire bag with whatever was there: rotting fruits, sharp stones, thorny branches, and dirt. It was heavy, and it was full. That was all that mattered to him. He dragged the heavy sack back, not caring in the slightest about its contents, just wanting the day to be over so he could return to his comfortable life. As the sun set, the three ministers returned to the palace and presented themselves before the king. The king looked at the three full bags standing before him. He didn't open them. He didn't inspect their contents. Instead, he made a shocking announcement. "Your service to me is now over," he declared. "I am sending you into exile. For the next month, you will be locked in a remote, isolated chamber, and you will have nothing to eat or drink except for what you have gathered in your bags." The king then commanded his guards, "Take these men away and give them nothing but the bags they have filled." A wave of shock and horror passed through the ministers. The first minister, though surprised, was calm. He had a bag full of delicious, nourishing fruits. He knew he would survive and even live comfortably on the rewards of his hard work and honest choices. He had unknowingly prepared for his own future. The second minister turned pale. He knew that the beautiful layer of fruits on top would last him only a day or two. After that, he would be left with a bag of useless leaves and sour, inedible fruit. His clever shortcut, his decision to create a mere illusion of success, had become his downfall. He would face hunger and misery because of his deceitful and lazy choice. The third minister began to tremble uncontrollably. His bag contained nothing but stones, dirt, and rotting waste. There was nothing for him to eat. His decision to treat the task with contempt, his choice to fill his bag with worthless junk, had sealed his fate. He was facing a month of certain starvation, a direct consequence of his own arrogance and laziness. He had, quite literally, packed his own punishment. James sat in stunned silence, the phone forgotten in his hand. The story, so simple yet so profound, hit him like a physical blow. He finally understood. He was all three ministers at once. He was the first minister when he occasionally put in a burst of effort. He was the second minister when he did just enough to get by, creating an illusion of progress. But mostly, he was the third minister, carelessly filling his days, his bag with distractions, procrastination, and poor choices, thinking it didn't matter. His grandfather looked at him, his eyes kind but firm. "Every day, James, life gives you an empty bag. Every decision you make, every action you take or avoid, is something you put into that bag. You can choose to fill it with the fruits of discipline, hard work, learning, and kindness. Or you can fill it with the stones of procrastination, laziness, and instant gratification. You don't see the consequences now, but a day will come when you will have to live off what you've collected. The future isn't some distant land you arrive at. It's a place you are building right here, right now, with every single choice you make. The question is, what are you putting in your bag?" James looked down at his hands and at the world around him, seeing it all in a new light. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that it was time to start choosing his fruits more carefully, and that from now on, he would be more careful with the time he had in his hands, making better choices about what would really benefit him and his future. So, just like James, tell me in the comments what bag you'll leave behind to become a better version of yourself, and what attitude and good deeds you'll start this coming year with. I'd love to read your comments. If you enjoyed this beautiful story and reflection, don't forget to share it with anyone you think might find it useful. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos and new reflections for your life. See you in the next video. See you soon.